Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswati vyasam tato jayam udire. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, I offer my obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto Lord Narayan, the supreme trinity, unto the Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Viprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. My regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and need of service to the pure devotee. All that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. Loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Madhyanantinandasya Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. I have no. Here we go. Divachalam pangam langadehim yat kripatam aham vande Shri Guru Dinataranam. I offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual master, the deliverer of the fallen souls. His mercy turns the dumb into eloquent spirits and enables the lame to cross mountains. Thank you. Today's class is going to be very simple. Please feel free to share your opinions and experiences as well. Don't be distracted. Your involvement means a lot. It's mostly about Sakya-ras today. How exactly Sakya-ras kind of gives us that nectar and how it makes us bhakti so natural. So we'll try to understand how Sakya-ras is different in material world and how it is different with Krishna. So we are reading from text 24th, right? Or 25? Okay. We'll start with Satma Prabhu.
Considering Lord Krishna invincible, that foremost demon Kalamba quickly carried Balrama far beyond the spot where he was supposed to put his passenger down.
As the great demon carried Balaram, the Lord became as heavy as massive Mount Sumeru, and Kalamba had to slow down. He then resumed his actual form, an effulgent body that was covered with golden ornaments, and that resembled a cloud flashing with lightning and carrying the moon.
Mr. John.
When Lord Balarama, who carried the plow weapon, saw the gigantic body of the demon as he moved swiftly in the sky, with his blazing eyes, fiery hair, and terrible teeth reaching toward his scowling brows, and an amazing effulgence generated by his armlets, crown, and earrings, the Lord seemed to become a little frightened.
Remembering the actual situation, the fearless Balaram understood that the demon was trying to kidnap him and take him away from his companions. The Lord then became furious and struck the demon's head with his hard fist, just as Indra, the king of the demigods, strikes a mountain with his thunderbolt weapon.
Smashed by Balaram's fist, Pralamba's head immediately cracked open. Demon vomited from his mouth and lost all consciousness. And then, with a great noise, he fell lifeless on the ground, like a mountain devastated by Indra.
Wow, so much of fun.
Text 30. The cowherd boys were most astonished to see how powerful Balram had killed the demon Pralamba, and they exclaimed, "Excellent, excellent."
They offered Balram profuse benedictions and then glorified him, who deserves all glorification. Their minds overwhelmed with ecstatic love. They embraced him as if he had come back from the dead.
And the last.
Sinful Pralamba having been killed, the demigods were extremely happy, and they showered flower garlands upon Lord Balram and praised the excellence of his
Jay. So, before we enter into this pastime or into this discussion, let's understand where exactly we are in Bhagavatam right now. We are in Canto 10, and Canto 10 is all about Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. So here Krishna is not a baby anymore. How old is he, Vatsal Prabhu? In between 6 to 7. Krishna and Balaram like 6 and 7 years old. And now they are herding cows and cows both, right? Having a lot of fun. So this entire pastime takes place in which forest? Huh? No. It takes place in Bhandira River, Bhandira 1, Bhandira Forest. So the situation is like all the cowherd boys along with Balram and Krishna, the guys are having a lot of fun. The guys are dancing, laughing, singing, wrestling, competing with each other. And all of a sudden, they kind of decide to play a game. And they divide the whole, the boys get divided into two teams. One team is of Krishna's, other team is of Balaram. And what was the rule here? You guys have already read the pastime. What was the rule here? Yes, Prabhu.
Winning team, the losing team will lift the shoulders, the one who won the race.
Yes, so the losing team will carry the winners on their shoulders. So imagine the amount of joy are there. So they all were kind of preparing to start the game, and a demon enters. When a demon enters, Krishna welcomes him. Krishna welcomes him, Krishna appreciates his presence, Krishna brings him and involves him in the game. Would you do that? Would you do that if you see a demon? Would you do that to them?
He was not a demon, he was a
Huh?
human.
He was a human?
He was not in a demon shape.
That's true.
That's
Yes,
right.
that's one of the reasons. But still, Krishna knew that he's a demon, but still Krishna welcomed him. Krishna let him in. And how no one else recognized? Because the demon did not come in his actual form. The demon did not come like screaming, roaring, and just kind of about to attack on everyone. The demon came disguised as a friend. And that's kind of the most dangerous demon, I would say. I don't know whether you guys have noticed this in your life or not, that in life the biggest exams, the biggest tests do not always come as problems. Sometimes they come as people or friendships that look very helpful, very laughing. You all must have experienced such kind of things. You must have kind of, been through those friendships where later you realize that this relationship, this friendship gradually took you away from Krishna or took you away from very, very something very sacred in your life. As we saw that Pralamba took Balram gradually away from everyone, from everything. And there was a sense of fear as well that Balram kind of got scared too. That was also mentioned there. We'll discuss that too. But we all have experienced such kind of things. Would anyone like to share their experience or any examples related to that? Please go ahead.
I think a good example is just when you've been maybe friends with someone for a long time, but each person changes a lot over time. And if you're heading towards Krishna and the other person isn't, it's not necessarily good or bad, but that other person may be encouraging you to do activities that in your heart don't feel right to you. Oh, just come out, have a few drinks. It'll be fine. Just a few lines of Coke, no big deal. Come on. So it depends how friendly the friend looks and how enticing it is. But
That's so
to be
true.
fair, And Krishna loves him too, so he invites him in, and it's up to us to learn to recognize, I think, that external form. And by being quiet inside and listening, we can hear for ourselves what feels right for us in our particular journey, whatever that is.
No, that's true. Like Bhagavatam is telling the same thing, that the demon doesn't come through come in his real form, but the demons come through relationship. They come through those temptations, those false ego, those friendships, and then just take you away from everything, something very important in your life, and you're just like, oh my God, what happened? And you're lost. But sometimes it's not that you wanted to be away from Krishna. It's not that you stopped loving Krishna. It's that you started giving your attention to something else that you shouldn't have. There are so many other pastimes they will try to understand, but this is very dangerous kind of situation where the demon doesn't attack on you with weapons, but the demon attacks on you with friendship. And it happens a lot of times with devotees. When such situations, when such friendships, or when their compassion is kind of abused or exploited, that we'll kind of try to understand. Like you said, it starts with few drinks. It starts with skipping one morning program, maybe. it starts with just taking one message, and then kind of your whole 30 minutes or an hour of the day is kind of spoiled. As soon as you see that one message, everything gets spoiled. Like, oh my God, the whole mood is kind of lost. Starts with that one thing. The kidnapping did not kind of take place immediately. Balram was kind of carried away slowly, like very nicely, gradually he was kind of taken away from the boundaries of the forest. And when Balram realized that no, this is not a game anymore, it doesn't look like a game anymore, he just there's a kind of sense of fear that, and how would you describe that fear, Rasatna Prabhu? That Balram is the source of strength, he's the source of knowledge, and he has a kind of sense of fear a little bit. And that's a very human thing.
Source of
Knowledge, yes. He's Guru Tattva, and Balram is shown like a little scared here. Why?
Balram is scared.
Yes. No problem. Welcome to Prabhu.
I think everybody would be able to relate with this. Like it's like not getting PR.
Mm-hmm.
Like going away from Radha Krishna Gopinath back to India.
Going up. Come on, Krishna is there too. In India as well.
And then, like,
Kishore Gopinath is
yeah,
not
we
there.
won't be able to live this closely with him.
Yeah, no, that's true. No, that's true. Yes, Prabhu. Venkatesh Prabhu. Sorry, Raj Bala Prabhu.
So I think Balram here is playing part of a human. So
Mhm.
he's expressing a little bit of fear just to show externally that he's fearful. And also, as you mentioned before that, like he's taking him away from his friends and his family and trying to like just destroy him so that externally as a human he's expressing that he's fearful.
Yes, no, that's true. How else would you describe it? Please go ahead.
So I'm going to say the same thing I said before, but from a different layer of awareness,
Mhm.
okay? Because they're playing a game, right? And that's what this place really is. It's all of Krishna's games with himself. He's just constantly having his pastimes. So if you can imagine that Balaram is serving a very high role here, he's, to her point, going, this is what it feels like to be a human. He understands on some level that Krishna's put Maya over his eyes, and that's why he's afraid. So you can feel that as he forgets they're playing a game, or as it shifts from a game to feeling more serious, that's being caused by the fear. And really, that's the two choices that we're constantly making. Are we going to embrace and surrender to Krishna and his love, or are we going to listen to our fear? And the way that it happens, and you can think of it like, just imagine your own stream of consciousness in which you are aware that thoughts are arising. Often those thoughts pull on us and tug at us, and we get distracted by them. Or to say another way, we get distracted from the present moment, which is where Krishna always is, with us in the present moment. So as the thoughts come in, it'll start with like a friend. oh, like I'm doing really good at this thing. And then you think, oh, well, if I'm doing good at that, I must be this. And all of a sudden, I look how good I am, ah, ha, ha. And it started with a little quiet thought, like, oh, yeah. And it's okay to praise yourself and encourage yourself, but can you be aware that sometimes that friend of encouragement can run away with itself if you're not careful with your train of thoughts? And in the same way, he gets carried, because all thoughts are based in fear. They're meant to distract you from the eternal present moment. So as you see each little bit of fear, it carries you farther and farther into the forest.
That's true. Like there's so many. Whatever you all have said is absolutely right. Like you said, that to understand the seriousness of the situation, like how serious it is getting, so that fear was not the fear that we just kind of get weak, but we give ourselves a pause just to understand what's going on. It doesn't look like a game anymore. He's taking me away from something very important. Another point that you mentioned, like they are so present in that moment, they are playing and laughing, and that's how it is. When you are with Krishna, you are fully present there. That's it. I mean, yes, sometimes we do our chantings and all, we are there, but we are distracted. But when they are playing game, when the Sakyaras is taking place, everybody's there. Everybody's enjoying, laughing, having fun, the joy, and how kind of nicely this demon kind of carried him away, putting him on the shoulder, kind of giving him all the joy and fun, making him smile and laugh, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, you are just away. You are not in that moment of fun and joy anymore. So this fear was a lila, a pastime for us to understand that fear is not wrong. The fear to recognize the situation, whether this is a real friendship or this friendship is something else, or this is a game or this is something else. So that fear is kind of very, very important for us. As soon as Balram recognizes, no, this is not the game anymore, this is not the friend anymore, it's something else, Balram kind of smashes his head. Or I would say Balram becomes very, very heavy. So whenever any Maya, any demon tries to take you away, Balram means the source of strength, the source of knowledge, the Guru Tattva, the mercy of Guru becomes very heavy to protect us. It happened in my life several times. There have been occasions, people I trusted. I thought like maybe, this person deserves my respect. That's how life is. Like sometimes situations, people would like, things will make sense and even things will look spiritual too, but they're not. It gives us maturity, tries to take us away from Krishna, but then the mercy kind of brings us back here. This is something very practical, inexplicable at the same time, but you all kind of would experience or must have experienced in your life. There's another very strong pastime that carries the same kind of warning. Does anyone remember that? A very famous pastime that carries the same kind of warning.
Are you talking about Putin?
No. You should be kind of somewhere the scriptures that you love the most.
Genuinely, I haven't read the Srimad Bhagavatam, so.
How about
for me,
Ramayana?
I'm curious how the story turns out. What's that?
How about Ramayana?
Yes.
You did.
Yeah.
So it's from Ramayana.
Which part?
You have to kind of figure it out.
Is it called Levi?
Huh?
Is it called Levi from Ramayana? Who pretended to be your friend, but that was a demon. Is it-
There was a demon who wanted to take you away from your. Yes, Ruby.
Is it Hanumanji?
Hanumanji was not there to take a devotee away.
Hanuman used to bring the devotee back.
Ravana taking
When
Sita
Ram
away.
taking
Yes,
Sita-
Ravan. Ravan was there to kind of kidnap Sita, Mother
Oh, like
Sita.
the whole story. You mean.
I mean-
I thought you were talking about like a specific pastime from.
Yeah, so this is, this is one of the specific pastime that sets the whole, Ramayana. And how did Ravan came? How did he come actually?
as a sadhu.
Disguised.
He disguised as a sadhu. He did not come as a kind of, in his real avatar, in his real form, as a demon. He came disguised as a Brahmin. Because he knew if he goes in his actual form, if he kind of go as an evil, she would not listen to him. But if we go as holy, then definitely she may kind of, step out her protection boundaries. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, don't forget that in the same way that the demon is loved by Krishna, so too is the sadhu who pretends to be Ravana, right? That's a very high being who's come back to finish off some bad karma. If you remember them, and I can't remember their third one, but Hiranyakashipu and his brother, they're all the same beings who used to guard Rama's gate, and there was like a fun pastime where they had gotten in trouble with each other, so as penance they have to go back into these darker incarnations, right? Because in order for Ram to have a reason to incarnate and for Hanumanji to help him to solve the problem, Ravana must exist. And you can feel the way that Ravana is the same as the fear. He's a representation of that thing that takes Sita, the pure devotee, away from God, away from Ram. And that's what drives the story.
True. But for us to understand in a very simple way how the Ravana came there. Ravana did not say that, oh, come with me. Like, let me take you away from Ram. Come with me. He did not say that. What he said, that is this how a Brahmin is respected? Do you not have compassion for a Brahmin? Or those kind of words. And what we sense here, like Sita did not step out of the boundaries because she stopped loving Ram. She stepped out because her compassion was exploited. Right? So Lakshman drew a line that's called Lakshman Rekha, and within that boundary, within that line, no power in the universe could touch Sita.
Why did he put the line and where did they go?
So
It's a dictated entity.
Ravana was pretending to...
No, where did Lakshman and Ram went by putting the line? Why did they go outside?
So they had to go for a golden deer or something. There's a great pastime behind that. So when they were kind of doing that job, they kind of drew a line, Lakshman Rekha. And who did it? Lakshman did it. Lakshman means Balram himself. The source of knowledge, yes, please.
So I'm not sure if we're telling the exact same version of the Ramayana, because there's a few versions, but in the one that I know, it's very similar. It's like the friend carries first Ram away because someone needs help. So Ram has to leave the place where they're all staying. They're in exile away from Ayodhya, right? And Ram has to go like solve some problem. So he leaves, but he turns to Lakshman, his brother, and says, take good care of Sita while I'm gone. And that's when Ravana starts coming from Lanka. He's like, he wants all the Shakti of the universe for himself, so he's trying to steal Sita. And he comes in, he's like, I gotta have her. But Lakshman cannot be fooled. He just cannot, he knows. But he starts calling from the forest to Lakshman in Ram's voice. And he says, come help me, Lakshman, I need help. And Lakshman knows that it's not Ram, but Sita, who's afraid, goes, you have to go help him, And she's like, buddy, Sita, it's not Ram, it's like, that's not real. And she's like, no, you have to go. And because of who she is, he says, okay, if you say so, I'll leave. But you cannot leave this magic circle. Before I leave, I'm going to draw this magic circle around you. And then Ravana, again, using the guise of a friend, turns himself into an old Mataji. And he wanders into the camp, into an old sadhu, and he's saying, Mataji, I'm starving, help me. And out of her compassion, she forgets, can't see who he is, and she hands him an apple, reaching outside the circle. As soon as she reaches out of the circle, that's when Ravana grabs her and pulls her out and carries her off to Lanka. So you can feel the way in which both cases, the fear is what drives being pulled away from God. And that's in one way the story is designed to teach you that.
Yeah, I mean, what we know, how we have understood that there was this line drawn that's called Lakshman Rekha, and we can't just call it a magical line, but a line of surrender, a line of obedience, a line of faith. When we are here in this spiritual circle, we have certain, instructions to follow. We are strictly asked to follow certain instructions, to stay in those boundaries. As long as we are in those boundaries, as long as we are within those boundaries, as long as we are doing our sadhana properly, as long as we are following those principles, as long as we are disciplined, we are protected, we are safe. As long as we are within those boundaries doesn't mean that we are strong. It simply means that we are protected. There's mercy of Balram there, of Guru. As long as we kind of, start giving attention to something else. Like, why does it happen a demon carries us away? Mother Sita's exploitation, um, compassion was kind of exploited, but in our case, what happens? I mean, what happens to us that these demons easily carry us away and it's like, oh my God, it's been long, I don't feel the same taste when I'm away from Krishna, and all those kind of things take place. Why? Why does it happen? Himanshu Prabhu, why does it happen?
Because we are still not there and we still want to get into those activities which we used to do or which are very famous in material world. People like to do and then people share. And we think that we might get into those activities or thoughts which are
You mean to say loss of remembrance? Loss of remembrance. But the same example that we shared last time, when a hand thinks that, oh, I can enjoy separate from the source, from the stomach, it's gonna be deluding itself. It's gonna get distracted. There's a kind of destruction of intelligence. It's not possible. When the hand remembers that the real happiness lies in serving the stomach, it's happy. The same goes to us as well. When we remember our real happiness is in serving Krishna, through our gurus, through devotees, we are happy. So as long as we are in the association of devotees, as long as we are following our instructions, as long as we are doing our sadhana, Maya may try to from outside of those boundaries, Maya may try to argue with you, Maya may try to manipulate you, but Maya cannot kidnap you. Ravana tried a lot to manipulate, could argue, but from outside of that line, he could not do anything. Nothing kind of would work. Just Sita had to make her step out of that boundary, that line.
So Ravana was a thief.
Whatever you consider, Prabhu. Such demons kind of try to steal your consciousness, and that line, Lakshman Rekha, is the line of your consciousness. These instructions keep you in that right consciousness. The real pleasure, the real joy that we enjoy, it might sound like being disciplined, being into these restrictions is not easy. It just kind of feels too much sometimes, but no. It just kind of saves us from a lot of miseries. And sometimes the nectar that the soul enjoys is only from these, I would say, that we call restrictions, but from these instructions only, where the soul really finds its rest, its joy. It's the circle of, what do we call it, love that we are in here. Go ahead.
I thought that was really beautiful, Prabhu, because you're illuminating very nicely how being in the present moment is the same as resting in God. And that through that process of not being distracted by our thoughts or any activities of the material world, by resting in that present moment, we're resting with Krishna in our heart. And that's a very restful place to be. It's very restorative, it's very healing, and it helps maintain that circle around us by resting in that place as much as possible.
Thank you. There's another thing. Anyone has anything to contribute right now? No? Anything to correct?
When you asked about the similar pastime for Ramayana, I won't share the whole pastime, there's not enough time. There's one in Valmiki Ramayana about Kalnemi, when, very similar to what you were saying, when Hanumanji was flying to get Sanjeevani, the herb from Himalayas, then Ravana sent this demon Kalnemi disguised as a sadhu on the way, and he stopped Hanumanji and he gave him instructions to first perform these Brahminical activities before going, keeping him away from Lord and doing the service, just so that there's not enough time to get the Sanjeevani. So he also came disguised as a friend, as a well-wisher, who was actually trying to keep him away from service.
Yeah, thank you. Why I said similar to this, because here in this pastime, Pralamba is trying to kidnap Balram. And Pralamba is trying to kidnap Balram, and in the other pastime, Ravan was trying to kidnap Sita. One thing that I really would say that's something that touched me in this whole pastime was about how Krishna, when you know that this person is a demon, when you know that this person is a demon, you would not let that person be around you, but still Krishna allowed him to be in that circle. Why? When we know that, seeing friend in a demon is like very extraordinary, but sometimes we see demon in our friends too. If the friend doesn't go our way, oh yes, I forgot to recite today's verse. Sorry, Prabhu. Sorry. We'll just do right after this. Uh, there is a friend who, doesn't go our way. We don't like them anymore. We just kind of, come on, you just kind of don't listen to me, don't understand me, don't vibe with me. And just don't know why. We just kind of do not give them the acceptance. We just reject them. But here, Krishna is teaching us that friendship or how devotees should be and how friendship is established to be given everyone an opportunity to be in your circle. We'll come back to this. Let's kind of recite today's verse. Yeah, Prabhu, nobody reminded me. Sorry. So it's verse number 26 for today. Tamudvahan dharani dharendra gauravam Mahasuro vigatarayo nijam vapuh Sa astitah purata parichaddo babhav Taridyuman udupativat evam buddha
Tam udavan dharani dharendra gauravam.
Udvahan dharani dharendra gauravam Mahasuro vigatarayo nijam vapuh
Sa astita purata parichadu babo.
Sa astita purata parichadda babho Taridyuman udupativat evam buddha
Tam udavam dharani dharendra gauravam.
Tamudvahan dharani dharendra gauravam
Mahasuro vigatarayo nijavapu.
Mahasuro vigatarayo nijam vapu Sa astitah purata parichadda babho
Taridyuman udupativat evam buddha.
Taridyuman udupativat evam buddha Tamudvahan dharani dharendra gauravam
Mahasuro vigatarayo nijam vapu.
Mahasuro vigatarayo nijam vapu
So astiha purata parichaddo vapu.
Sa astita purata parichadda babho Taridyuman udupativat evam buddha So we'll read word by word. Just repeat after me. Yes.
Can I share one quick story?
Of
before
course,
we keep
please.
going? Just to give an example of like something that I've experienced in my life about how seeing demons for what they are, but seeing that underneath them is still a spirit that's the same as all of us can be very powerful. So I was very, very happy after being here at the temple for several hours, and I was on the way home, and I was chanting the mantra on the subway. And as I was coming, we came to maybe the third or fourth stop on the way home, and the doors opened, and a gentleman who was drunk stumbled onto and another one of his friends followed afterwards, and they were both so sort of out of it, or asleep, you might say, not really paying attention to it. I couldn't even tell if they were really friends, just because they were like so far apart and not even coordinating, and it was like weird. And the first guy came, sat down, and the second guy came and sat right across from him in some way. And because I was chanting the mantra, all the thoughts that I wanted to have about him, oh, look at this drunk, look at him, look at that, but it fell away under the power of the mantra. It just sweeps over it like a loving consciousness that brushes away those kinds of fearful thoughts. And I said, in my heart, I said, I love you just the way that you are. And I was smiling. And he was kind of like drunk a little like this, and I'm just looking at him smiling. And he looks up and he catches my eyes and he goes, and looks right at me. And because I'm centered enough while doing the mantra, nothing changes in my appearance, and that same smile, that love is still flowing. And he goes, you smile just like my mother. And I went, that's really nice. And for just a second, we met in that place of where he could feel that love. But very quickly, his not so helpful friend's thoughts began arising again. And you could see he went from being upright and happy and smiling to slowly, as our conversation kind of ended, he began drifting back into his own stream of thoughts, which arguably is perhaps full of demons at this point. And so his body language changes from like this to being like, and you can see the thoughts are starting to work on his consciousness. He's being pulled away from that feeling of love, and
That's true.
and then he pulls out his bottle and he says, as if he's speaking directly to his mother, at least I'm not completely wasted. I could feel the way like he came up for air for just a second to get some love, and then he was like, no, I'm going back under again because I'm going to listen to these sort of fearful thoughts and get pulled into the forest or pulled out of the circle, etc.
Smile is very contagious, especially when it comes from devotees. Somebody told me once that, Prabhu, the best thing that you can do is just keep smiling, because this is the best service that you can do. When you smile, it just helps others change their mood as well. A lot of people are fighting some mental battles that you have no idea. And when you give them a wrong attitude or kind of wrong energies, nobody can take it. Nobody has that strength. But just kind of having a smile on your face. Trust me, no matter how depressed the person is, it touches them. And when that smile is coming from the joy of holy name, what to speak of that? So you did a great service, actually.
And I think it's important to remember that it's not necessarily the smile, although that's a big part of it. It's also the fact that I'm not attached either way to how he is. I see that how he is perfectly fine just the way that he is. And that's part of what he's feeling in a vibrational, transcendental sense. It's something that you can use to communicate to others around you simply by your vibration. That, hey, this is all going pretty great. I'm really happy.
This person could be a devotee tomorrow. This person could be a devotee tomorrow. Who knows? Who knows? So let's read word by word. Tam, him, Dhanidharendra, like the king of mountains, Sumeru, Gauravam, great, Mahasura, the great demon, Vigataraya, losing his momentum, Bijam, his original, Vapu, body, Sa, he, Asita, becoming situated in Kurata, golden, Parichada, having ornaments, Bahav, Shisa, Tarit, light, writing, Yuman, flashing, Urupati, the moon, Vat, carrying, Eva, just as Ananda, the cloud. As the great demon carried Balram, the Lord became as heavy as massive mountain Sumeru, and Pralamba had to slow down. He then resumed his actual form, an effulgent body that was covered with golden ornaments and that resembled a cloud flashing with lighting and carrying the moon. Here, the demon Pralamba is compared to a cloud, his golden ornaments to lighting within that cloud, and Lord Balram to the moon shining through it. Great demons can assume various forms by exerting their mystic powers. But when the Lord's spiritual potency curtails their power, they can no longer maintain an artificial form and must again manifest their actual demonic body. Lord Balram suddenly became as heavy as a great mountain, and although the demon tried to carry him high on his shoulders, he could not go on. So, whatever it is in our life, whether it's temptation, thoughts, friends, relationships that are in the form of that demon, Balram's mercy becomes so strong, so powerful that we can see their actual form and we can create our boundaries again. We can come back in our boundaries like, no, I cannot help this person at the cost of stepping out of these boundaries set by my spiritual master in my life. As long as we serve through that, we are protected, we are safe, and like you had mentioned about friendship and helping others, I also kind of experienced this example how devotees are the way Krishna kind of, accepted him as a friend and gave him an opportunity to play with all the devotees there. It was not an ordinary thing. So there is a verse that I wanted to share with you all. I don't know whether I wrote it or not. It's from Srimad Bhagavatam 4th canto about how a devotee should be. Very compassionate, not seeing demon in everyone, even giving an opportunity to a demonic person as well, even if they are coming disguised as a friend, giving them an opportunity and helping them to elevate, not at the cost of putting yourself out of your safety zone. It's from Srimad Bhagavatam 4.31.19. How I like this verse, Prabhu, can you pull that? 4.31.19. I was sharing a room with one of the ashram residents, Just Mahal, and he was spiritually very excited, like very enthusiastic soul. And I would come late from work. Mostly we would share what we read, our realizations and all. And next day he told me like he would be attending Mangala Aarti. When I woke up next morning, he was not he was not kind of, ready, or I realized that he did not go for Mangala Aarti. And I was like, Prabhu, you should have been kind of, upstairs right now. You shouldn't have been in the room. And he said one thing, that Prabhu, you came late last night, and I know how it is that when you are sleeping and when your sleep breaks, you are not able to kind of concentrate on anything. And that touched me a lot. Still, my every decision, this particular moment shapes that. He became so selfless at that point that he wanted to attend the Mangala Aarti. He did not attend so that I can sleep peacefully and I can kind of take care of the rest of my day and my activities. And I was just like, wow, this person is like a practical, he has that consciousness of being so selfless. And that's how a devotee should be, that sometimes they sacrifice with their happiness, just not, they don't enjoy their happiness at the cost of someone else's kind of, peace. And that touched me. Next day we just kind of made it, we had this thing arranged that whenever you are going to attend Mangala Aarti, make sure you sleep in room number 1. That room was free at that time. But whenever I make any decision in my life, this verse which says Daya Sarva Bhuteshu, a devotee is very compassionate, very kind. He feels others' pain. He prioritizes their pain. He respects, and that's how you kind of elevate. Devotion is not always your external growth. It's how internally you are elevated. And this thought I always carry with me, that whatever I'm doing, not at the cost of someone else's peace, someone else's happiness, but yes, in a way where I'm not disturbing anyone, at the same time I'm pushing myself forward. This is a very amazing verse. If we can just kind of quickly read, just a translation. Who'd like to read? I miss Amla, who always says yes. Please, Prabhu, go ahead.
By showing mercy to all living entities, being satisfied somehow or other, and restricting the senses from sense enjoyment, one can very quickly satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Jagannatha.
We can read the purport as well if you.
These are some of the ways in which the Supreme Personality of Godhead can be satisfied by the devotee. The first item mentioned in Daya Sarva Bhutesu, showing mercy to all conditioned souls. The best way to show mercy is to spread Krishna consciousness. The entire world is suffering for want of this knowledge. People should know that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the original cause of everything. Knowing this, everyone should directly engage in his devotional service. Those who are actually learned, advanced in spiritual understanding, should preach Krishna consciousness all over the world so that people may take to it and make their lives successful. The word Sarva Bhutesu is significant because it applies not only to human beings but to all the living entities appearing in the 8,400,000 species of life. The devotee can do good not only to humanity but to all living entities as well. Everyone can benefit spiritually by the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. When the transcendental vibration of Hare Krishna is sounded, even the trees, animals, and insects benefit. Thus, when one chants the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra loudly, he actually shows mercy to all living entities. To spread the Krishna consciousness movement throughout the world, the devotee should be satisfied in all conditions.
Thank you, Prabhu. I know I've made a lot of mistakes. The most important thing that I missed was reciting the verse with you all. But forgive me and please correct me. I'm here to learn and push myself towards this path of purifying myself. Uh, Please, any questions you have or any corrections, feel free to share. Yeah.
I want to thank you, Prabhu, for giving such a practical understanding from that verse. Because I recently reading from someone that they were talking about consciously taking out toxic people from life. Because usually we focus on self-improvement and stuff to improve relationships, but not so much about drawing boundaries. So you focus that and relate it to it very well. So thank you. I want to give a slightly different perspective. Because I look, yours is completely fine. This is just another way to look at the same verse or the same pastime. Is how when Putana came, even though her intention was to kill Krishna, Krishna accepted her because she provided him milk, and it is said that he even like provided her better afterlife or something, or she went to the spiritual life. But here also, like even though the demon came disguised as a friend, Balaram let him lift him on his shoulders. So it's like Krishna is so merciful that he accepts, even if you come with wrong intentions. That's something good for me personally.
Here, everyone. I mean, here in Krishna consciousness, that's how we are. Always, we are accepted the way we are. When I joined, trust me, I used to be one of those people who would discriminate in the sense like, oh no, this is wrong, this is right, you guys are wrong, this isn't that. I used to be kind of that, what do we call it, someone who always does that OCD thing. Oh, this is not clean, that's not clean, you should wash your hands like this, you should take off your slippers like this. There were so many things that were like very annoying about my personality as well, but I was accepted the way I was. And today as well, I'm accepted the way I am. We are accepted the way we are, and we are given an opportunity to purify ourselves. The association kind of gives us everything, the strength, the knowledge, the wisdom, everything that we need. So it requires us to kind of surrender. The way Putna came, she looked like a goddess of fortune, very beautiful, and that's how she kind of tried to take Krishna away. But here she was trying to take Krishna away. Anything else? Any other question? Yeah, please.
Thank you so much for that practical understanding of friendships and how it can be disguised as problems. I really like the example of Ramayana and the example of Ravana, and when you said that boundaries, like Lakshmana, Tattva, Guru Tattva, they create a boundary, and you said that it will protect you. It may not be strong. That's why the boundary is not strong. So it will protect you. And Maya can, outside the boundary, Maya can argue or allure, but she cannot step inside unless you cross the boundaries. So that's very wonderful. So yeah, I also, it was very famous line of Bhakti Chaudhary Maharaj, that if you break your regulated principles, or maybe all gurus say that, then I don't have like any control over your life. Like I don't take responsibility for your spiritual life. And yes, and we know, we listen to our own Gurudev. A lot of times we know what he wants. Still we sometimes go out of boundary, or no, we exactly know what he wants. Exactly. That's why we chose him as a spiritual master. So, but we sometimes go out of boundary. So we try to be conscious, and this class will really help me. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, on my initiation day, Maharaji asked a question, who is devotee? And what I used to think before that whoever surrendered to Krishna is devotee, but he said like everyone is a devotee on this planet, every living entity, everything, everyone is devotee. And that's where I'm like, no, we need to be very much careful. Are we committing any offenses against them? The way we operate ourselves, the way we kind of do our things, are we kind of affecting anyone's peace, anyone's happiness, disturbing anyone, or doing the things which we shouldn't be? So this verse kind of, they're no purport, they're just like simple translations, you just kind of read them and just like, okay, it's done, but just you gotta put your brain and see like what it is trying to teach me in my personal life, how can I relate, and how can I learn from it. And this was the most practical way I could understand. I'm very thankful that your Prabhu has kind of allowed me to be here today. Thank you. Hare Krishna.